Hi students. So in this video we're gonna be discussing about the physical quantities. So what is physical quantities? It's nothing more than a way. It's nothing or more than a way to measure things like things, object or phenomenon. It rather can be a object and it's maybe a phenomenon like light. The traveling of the light is a phenomenon. It's not an object, and which is measured in luminous intensity, and there is temperature phenomenon, and there is speed, which is a phenomenon like things are happening. So physical quantities is a term to describe or measure the property of the matters of a substance or the object. It helps us to define the properties. Like, let's take a cube. It have length, breadth and height. Length, breadth and height. So we are describing its properties. So that's where physical quantity help us. There are mainly three types of physical quantities: fundamental, and there is derived, and one of them is supplementary. Let's talk about the fundamental quantities. Fundamental quantity. There are only 7 types of fundamental quantities, but there is many derived quantities, and the derived quantity is dependent on the fundamental quantities, while fundamental quantity is independent. They are like independent guys. They they do their things by themselves. By the derived quantity, they depend on the fundamental quantities to measured. I will show a quick difference between fundamental quantities and the derived quantities. But before that, we need to know that there are only 7 types of fundamental quantities. They are mass, then there is length, and there is time, and there is temperature, and then luminous intensity, like to measure the phenomenon, and the electric current. Temperature is also electric current, amount of substance. And now we have derived quantities. Like derived quantities, it will be important to remember this all 7 quantities: mass, length, time, temperature, luminous intensity, and the electric current, and the amount of substance. Like, you have to remember all this. And there is derived quantities. Like, we have many derived quantities, and we know that derived quantities is dependent to the fundamental quantities. Let's say how it is dependent to the fundamental quantities. Like, we know area. We earlier discussed about the cube, and now here is the area. What is area? Length into breadth, or the area of cube, length into breadth into height. There is two fundamental quantities like L, and this is also L. So it depend on the area, depend on the length, and there is also then another length. So derived quantities depend on the fundamental quantities. And now we have our third, which is supplementary quantity. And now supplementary quantity, for we have only 2 type of supplementary quantity. There is plane angle, and there is solid angle. why they are supplementary quantity? Because they have not any dimensions. Or to say, what is a plane angle? Like this is a plane angle and it is pure number. They are not any physical things, or the angle is not a measurable, cannot be directly measured by the instrument. It will need uh, numbers